Hello, and welcome to Jake's Clickbait Emporium. I'm sorry for my upload schedule as of late. It's been a bit of a jankety mess because I've been really busy, and then last weekend I had to go and injure my hand. I caught my middle finger in the spinning brake rotor of my mountain bike and almost lost my fingertips, so that's been fun. So this video is going to be kind of lower effort since I can't really work on anything. This is going to be some footage recorded back in July of me replacing the gauge cluster in the Maxima here. I didn't actually fix it myself, I sent it out because sometimes you just have to know when you're over your head, and rebuilding an ancient gauge cluster that's very hard to get a hold of, the white face version at least, yeah, that's definitely not my forte. And then the light here, the turn signal on the Maxima, I actually fixed earlier and forgot to grab the camera because I am the king of foresight. So let's take a look at the light first and I can show you what that was all about, and then I'll go ahead and roll the footage from back in July.
This problem really couldn't be more simple. And also, how do you like my new tripod that I got to fill the consumerist hole in my heart? So all that you really need is a pick and a screwdriver. So I'm going to flip this over to flathead, and I'm just going to pry out the side marker here. It comes out real easy, just like that, and out it comes. And then the turn signal is just a single Philippy boy. I noticed this issue back when I was bringing the car back from Ed Bullion's place. Yeah, well, I thought it was just a dead bulb, but it turned out not to be, so I was afraid that there was a wiring issue. John Ross offered some help.
I got meth. That's good. You need some? Not really. Okay.
It wasn't particularly useful, though. But once you get the light out, take the bulb holder. Come on, you take the bulb holder. There we go. Yeah, so that's a perfectly fine light bulb. So if we take the bulb out, I used a voltmeter. You can actually take the bulb holder off of the wiring harness itself, and I was measuring for voltage at the plug, and I was getting it, so I checked continuity between the pins and the guts of the bulb holder, and because they're just simple pieces of brass, of course, there was continuity. So what on earth was making that voltage not get to this bulb? Well, I think typically on these bulbs, these little nubs, which retain it, are also where the ground flows through, but on here, it's going to be very difficult to show this. Let's see if we can zoom in a bunch. So this little notch that you see here, I'm going to use this to point at it. This little notch here, there's a little tab that protrudes and rubs up against the side of the bulb. That tab simply was not sticking out enough. So I went and stuck this down in here, pulled that tab out so it would make contact again. Bada bizzle, bada boozle. The light worked. It was just that easy. Wow, what a complex and in-depth automotive repair that was. Now we'll look at another one where I remove 5 screws, take something out, receive it in the mail again, and put it back in place with 5 screws. Amazing stuff.
Good morning, new subscribers and old. We're here today with the... Oh, there it is. The CARTREK Nissan Maxima. This is going to be the first in a long line of videos on this car. Today, we're just going to be fixing a very simple thing. We're going to be fixing... Well, I'm not even fixing it. I'm just removing it and having it rebuilt. It's the gauge cluster, which was previously doing this.
What is happening here? It is freaking out. That's amazing.
Among other things, you know, the speedometer would go up and then would get to like 60 miles an hour and then kind of jump up and down a little bit like this. The fuel gauge would stop at like 2/3 of a tank, except sometimes it would go all the way to full, and just general weirdness like that. So we're going to remove the gauge cluster. We're going to take it to a buddy to get it rebuilt. I think it just needs a bunch of solder joints reflowed and like a hot air rework station, so should be fairly quick and easy. It looks like it's literally just 2 tools and 2 screws. Two tools and 2 screws. Yes, 2 Really? 2 tools and 2 screws to get this out of here. Got a Phillips head screwdriver and a trim removal tool and a Nissan Maxima. So here we go.
I do apologize for the lighting, but I'm not going to do anything about it.
Now, judging by the number of Nissan Maxima gauge clusters for sale in rebuilt condition on eBay,
This is a fairly common problem, and this is something that I do seem to see fairly frequently on older Japanese cars like this. Does this go down any? Yes, that's one screw out. That in the cup holder, which is now a screw holder. Very convenient multi-use interior pieces. Good job, Nissan. You know what's funny? Out of all the cars I own, this is probably the easiest one to find parts for in the junkyard. Well, maybe this or the Buick. That's 2 screws in the top. Looks like it's being held at the bottom now. So we're gonna grab our trim tool. Let's see, what do we think? The actual bottom here. Ooh, yeah. Man, that makes some awful noises. Is that it? Yeah. Oh. Thankfully, this is fairly flexible, because that sucked. Looks like we got 3 more Phillips. These are the exact same as the ones we removed earlier, so there's no getting them confused. Ooh. Okay, so, couple notes. This is a ribbon style connection where the contacts for the connectors are just these traces on the flexible PCB, so you can tear them when you're removing everything, so be careful of that. Oh, that's interesting. This has the PRND32L for the automatic. It's the same either way. I guess this will have to be further disassembled to actually get to the parts that we're interested in, but I'm going to leave that up to someone who knows what they're doing. Look at that. That was pretty easy.
I've just received a box from Automotive Circuit Solutions. This is a freshly rebuilt white face gauge cluster for my Nissan Maxima. Oh, can we not with the packing peanuts? Okay, so those are everywhere. That's lovely. Oh no, stop. Oh hey, there's a warranty on their work. That's cool. Wow. That is beautiful. And I did actually try to find a replacement one of these with the white gauge faces, and they simply do not exist for any amount of money. So that, almost dropped it. That is super cool. I'm excited. Well, now that I got my gauge cluster in hand, here comes the fun part, which is getting it back in the car without breaking anything. But let's just start with our electrical connectors here. Yeah. Make sure that I don't pinch any of this wiring here as I put this back in. There we go. It's installed. Oh no, my camera. Don't do this to me, Sony. Okay, screws. They're all the same. Can't possibly mess this up, in theory. In reality, I can mess everything up. That wiring harness needs to stay in its lane. Before we go too much further, I'm just gonna make sure that it reacts when I turn the key on. Sure does. Mr. Bezel, security light, dimmer switch, and then my cruise control. Okay, now how do I do this without breaking stuff? Wow, I hate every part of that. Oh, it just snaps right into place though. That's nice. And then our 2 screws. Yes. Great. Yeah. Low-key, I kind of love the way that failed motor mounts sound when you start the car, because they like, I don't know, the way they transmit the sound of the starter, it sounds kind of cool. All right, so we have speedometer. We do have speedometer. Look at that. Let's get it up to temperature, see if we have coolant gauge. I haven't driven this thing in over a month. is fixed! That is fantastic. Well, there we go. That's probably the least amount of work I've ever put into a repair on a car. It was, what, 2 screws for the bezel and then 3 screws for the cluster itself. And then I just had someone else do the work, because you need to know when to just let the experts take care of it. But that is a big fat W for the Maxima. Now I can tell how fast I'm going, so that's pretty great. I've got a lot of bushings to throw at this thing, so look forward to that in a coming episode. We'll fix this absolutely absurdly broken steering and hopefully our acceleration vibrations as well by doing all of the motor mounts. Yay! But that does it for this video. Thank you all for watching.